good, people? Agent Jules reporting for duty. Alrighty, I have decided to watch through Season 2 of Kipo. And I'm going to see whether or not my opinion has changed. Has it changed? And for those of you who are wondering what my opinion was, go ahead and hit up the previous video I did on Kipo Season 1. I'll put it in the description box down below, as well as put a little taggity-doo-bop here so you can click on it. But anyway, what are my thoughts? Well, let's go ahead and buckle into our favorite pink car that is put upon a giant two-headed flamingo. Let us run down a little girl who can turn into a cat and steal her for our nefarious purposes, which is smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And let's go ahead and talk Kipo Season 2. Alrighty. As per usual, before we talk, let's go ahead and discuss the speed paint. The speed paint is, in this case, the villain of Kipo in the Age of Wonderbeasts, which is Scarlemagne. And I find it very interesting how Scarlemagne's story is very similar to Caesar from the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy that was made in like the early 2010s. I think it was like 2012 through 2016, because it's very much the story of apes being experimented on and becoming hyper intelligent. And so I decided, hey, I believe this particular shot that I'm aping on is from the second movie, War for the Planet of the Apes, after society is degraded and Caesar has kind of, created his own ape society and he's leading them. And it's kind of funny because if you really think about it, Scarlemagne is much more like Koba from Planet of the Apes than he is Caesar. Because Caesar is ultimately a benevolent individual, whereas Koba very much hates humanity, much like Scarlemagne. So, in reality, I probably should have made Scarlemagne more like Koba, but I think this reference is easier to get. What is my opinion on Season 2? It hasn't changed that much. I would say that my opinion has made a lateral shift. I don't like Kipo any less, nor do I like it any more than I did in the first season. My problem is the show has not captivated me. It has not reeled me in. And I believe that I have come to this conclusion because I have recently seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. So prepare for a lot of comparisons between Kipo and Avatar. And let's be real here, all right? When Avatar came out, it kind of opened the floodgates for similar works to be made, which can be sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. It's kind of like how when Harry Potter finally popped off, you started seeing a lot of movie studios start grabbing for young adult novels. So you had like The Hunger Games, which did pretty well. You had like The Maze Runner, you had Percy Jackson. So I feel like Kipo, along with a lot of other very similar cartoons, kind of came in the wake of Avatar. And therefore, unfortunately, for better or for worse, are kind of damned to be compared to Avatar. Kipo does a good amount of things technically right, as far as I'm concerned. The problem is there's a lot of big things that are stopping me from enjoying it. And for those of you who are familiar with this channel, you know what I'm about to complain about, because it's the biggest thing I always talk about. The characters. Okay? There are characters that are just not grabbing me, and the biggest culprit is Kipo herself. I am not a fan of Kipo, the main character, the title character of this series. I've been trying to think of ways of saying it. In the last video, which again I linked to, I accused Kipo of being the M word being a Mary Sue, and my justification for it is that it felt like she wasn't properly struggling for the stakes that were presented in the show, and I feel like that is a continuous problem with her. Bear with me, I'm about to make another comparison. So in addition to the comparison to Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'm also going to start invoking the power of Steven universe. Alright, so let's see if I can parse this together. Kipo, the show, tries to be this big world. I'm not going to say try, it actually succeeds, which I think is the problem. It succeeds at being this big, scary world, much in the similar way as Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's got some pretty good, pretty solid world building. I will give it points for that. Okay, the big thing I want to really drive home is that the world is not only vast and interesting, but it's also pitched to us, I believe, or at least it was pitched to me, as dangerous. Okay, it's big and dangerous and something to be taken seriously. Now, Kipo, I believe, feels a lot like Steven Universe in that she gets away with just kind of singing and dancing her way through her problems without really being emotionally vested as much as I would like. And what I mean by this, because I want to be really careful as to how I phrase this, is that this is not to say that there's not things that she doesn't care about. It's very clear that she cares for her father in this season. Spoilers, by the way, there will be spoilers. In this season, her father's kidnapped and she has to rescue him, and then he's kidnapped again. So he's constantly being put under perils, and that's clearly a motivation for Kipo. The problem is that she's acting too much like Steven. Like I said, that she can kind of sing and dance her way out of stuff, but this isn't a world where you can sing and dance your way out of it. The reason why I was able to gel with Steven Universe is because Rebecca Sugar pitched to me a world that was happy and huggy and handhold, and if you just sing the right song, everyone can be your friend, including genocidal gem dictators. And Kipo's world is not pitched to me like that. So you're giving me a Steven character in an Avatar universe, which is not going to work, in my opinion. There's never a point where I feel Kipo's stress, okay? There's never a point where Kipo is put under such duress that I fear for her, or that I feel concern for an outcome. On the opposite end of that, if there is a character that exemplifies that really well, it's Wolf. As I mentioned in my previous video, Wolf does this job better than Kipo. There's a specific episode where Kipo and Wolf have to go into this nest of giant scorpions. I forgot what they call them. Death Stalkers, I think they're called. They're giant three-tailed scorpions, and it's kind of shown in flashback that Wolf's scorpion tail rebar staff was made from tearing off one of those stingers and putting it on. So she has beef, right, with these Death Stalkers. They are shown to be very dangerous, and they have this really great shtick that I felt was underutilized. These Death Stalkers can hunt you down by feeling your heartbeat, right? So they show in the flashback that Wolf figured this out, and so she uses breathing techniques to calm herself and slow her heart rate. And this was something she was explaining to Kipo by saying, these things can sense your heartbeat, so you got to learn how to calm yourself down. Now, technically speaking, they show Kipo freaking out and her heart rate racing, and this is something that she has to overcome. My problem is that it was shown in a way that was too quirky, right? I never felt that Kipo's stress came from genuine fear. I felt like it came from, oh, whoopsie doodle, oh boy, I sure hope I don't freak out, hoy. It was too cute. I think that's the problem. It was too cute. It was too Steven Universe. She acted too much like Steven Universe in an Avatar setting. And that really bothered me, whereas Wolf was very much more keeping this serious. And I think that's my main issue, ultimately, is that Kipo doesn't take this world seriously, and she's not punished for it. She's not properly punished for it. I really need to see her suffer for not taking this world seriously. Because Wolf consistently claims if you don't toughen up, then this world will eat you alive, but it never does. So it's making Wolf look like a liar or an idiot or something. I almost feel like if there was an episode dedicated to Kipo doing her cutesy dancy, oh, let me sing song these giant murderous animals and be friends, and then they say nope, and just smack her around or kidnap her or put her through hell. And then there's a moment where she goes, oh my god, I really was, not taking this seriously. And Wolf rescues her, and Wolf says you see what I mean now? You can't, you if they had an episode like that, and then Kipo had to change her tune, so to speak, I would feel better. I would feel better. So a lot of this Kipo complaint, I recognize as my opinion, but I am very staunchly holding on to it because I find it to be a character flaw. And my big thing is that characters are driving the story. And if character suspension of disbelief is broken for me, which it is with Kipo, then the whole facade just falls apart. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of similar to my complaints with Rick and Rick and Morty, is that Rick I do not feel like Rick is ever really punished for his transgressions. And I feel like Kipo kind of skirts by too easily in the same way. And this is not to say that she needs to get punched harder or hurt more or something. I just need to see in her face. I need to, witness her suffer. There's a quote, and I can't remember who it's by. I think it's by the director who directed the old movie from like the 40s or 30s called On the Waterfront. It was one of Marlon Brando's standout roles. I believe it's this director who said a quote, and I'm going to kind of sort of paraphrase it, which is like, we see psychology through behavior. And what he means by that is that an actor essentially portrays to we, the audience, what they are thinking and what they are feeling by how they are behaving. So whenever you show, if you're going to write a book about a hardened cowboy, right, who goes out in the West and he's here to clean up this town and he has a stern face, but you have like paragraphs of this book dedicated to what's going on in his mind where he's thinking like, ooh, this outlaw that I have to hunt down, that this is a dangerous man and I'm scared for my life, but I can't show weakness because these townsfolk count on me, so I must keep a stern face. The whole book can be written and you can read that whole story without one line ever describing the stern cowboy's face breaking. So on the outside he looks hardcore, but you get to read his psychology on the inside being scared. You can't do that in film, and in this case animation. So the problem is that if they're trying to show Kipo being truly afraid, which is kind of what I need to get in order for me to buy into her story and feel good about it, they're not really showing it. If you show like how truly scared she is, and I'm not talking about in like the ooh-woo quirky kind of way that they do, but like if I really got a nice hard sense of how difficult her journey is, I am going to be much more willing to buy into what happens to her and be more invested in this show, and I think that is my ultimate problem. Okay, before I end this video, I do want to talk about Scarlemagne, because I don't want this video just to be ragging on Kipo the character, because I do believe that there's a lot this show does right, and one of them, character-wise, is Scarlemagne. Scarlemagne is great. I really love Scarlemagne. He's this amazing villain. When he's first shown, he's shown to be this maniacal, cackling lunatic, very, very Joker-esque, but obviously a lot more organized. In this season, you get to see his origin, and his origin is very, like I said when I was describing the speed paint reference, very Planet of the Apes. Because the whole thing is that Kipo's dad and mom were scientists trying to figure out genetics, and basically they raised Scarlemagne, his original name being Hugo. And of course, when Kipo came into the picture, Scarlemagne felt like they valued her over him, and that really angered him and turned him into the mandril he is today. And that is really fascinating. And so I'm really invested in Scarlemagne's story right now, but without a proper balance with Kipo, it feels very one-sided. So I'm liking Wolf, I'm liking Scarlemagne, some of the other characters, Benson is okay. He's kind of just like the generic, oh, look at me, I'm the token humor guy. Some of the other characters are kind of quirky here, and they're kind of like quirk dressing, to make another unfair comparison with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I described how there wasn't a character I didn't like in Avatar. Even the side characters are really nice, and this one is not so much. Again, because I think they lean too much on quirk more than they do character development, and you see it the most in Kipo. But again, to be fair, Wolf and Scarlemagne are really great. So I will give him that. And I'm glad that if there is an amazing, compelling character, it's at least the antagonist. So there's something out there that makes this really, you know, there's something to look forward to. I am going to go ahead and watch Season 3 because of Scarlemagne. Because I want to find out what happens to Scarlemagne. We'll see what happens with Kipo, but like I said, tell you what, I'll here's to Scarlemagne. I'll watch it for him. Okay, so I think with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up today's video. Alrighty, people, you know what to do. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and tickle the sacred button. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so you're always, you know, privy to when I post next. Also, go ahead and comment down below. If Kipo is your favorite show and you think I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know. You know, I want to hear from people who actually like Kipo, not only the show but the character. I want to hear your case. I want to hear your case because I want to see what I'm missing, because I'm missing a lot when it comes to Kipo herself. Also, go ahead and share this video because you know you want to. It burns within your insides and you must expel it outward for all the world to see. And in addition, if you want to follow me elsewhere on Enterbutts, go ahead and, of course, hit up my links. They're here on the screen. I also have my intro video that I always link in the description box down below, and you can click on that to get the links from there. I do that because it's an algorithm trick. But with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you all stick around, and until next time, deuces.